little early for Christmas shopping, ain't it? Who's up front in the cab?
Santa Claus.
And I'm the Tooth Fairy.
Clint Eastwood is Sergeant Nick Polovsky, what you might call a seasoned cop. Charlie Sheen is Detective David Ackerman, what you definitely call a rookie.
Good work, kid. Now read them their rights.
You think I like dragging around after you all day? I hate it. And I hate the way you drive.
Shut up. Shoot her. Shoot her now. There's got to be 100 reasons why I don't blow you away. Right now, I can't think of one.
It's time for me to stop being scared. For other people to start.
When I go with a bang. Fasten your seatbelt.
Clint Eastwood, Charlie Sheen, Raul Julia, Sonia Braga. The Rookie.
Not too far from your thoughts, am I?
But my nightmares is more like it.
Maybe comedy's a little bit of an understatement here, because judging by that trailer, I have no idea what the heck they were thinking when they made this movie. I mean, just, wow, that trailer was just all over the place, and honestly, the movie is kind of like that too. It's just, like, if you thought that Another 48 Hours would be the bottom of the barrel for these action buddy cop movies, Clint Eastwood and Charlie Sheen say hold our beers, because, yeah, this was a rough movie. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's like one of those movies where it's like, you have the right idea, you've got the basic gist of what you need to do to make a really good movie based off of these. You have two likable actors here, Clint Eastwood, Charlie Sheen. Eastwood's directing it. Usually when he directs a movie, there are more hits than misses, but this is a real misfire for him, trying to cash in on the popular trend of the time, which was the buddy cop action movies. And most of them by this point weren't really doing all that well. Like, for every, 48 Hours, Midnight Run, Lethal Weapon, you get a movie like this, or Renegades, or Downtown, just these movies where they try to get the basic formula down, but they don't have a good enough script to keep it as on its own, make it stand down on its own. That's what I'm trying to say. And the casting here makes no sense at all. You have a Puerto Rican actor in Raul Julia and a Brazilian actress in Sonia Braga, and you cast them as Germans. And you also have a really off scene in Clint Eastwood actually having a rape scene with Sonia Braga. It's just like, what is this movie? Like, what are you trying to do here? And it's just like, it's a mess of a movie. It's a mess of a movie, to say the least. They took an idea that could have been so easy to work as well as it does, and unfortunately, it doesn't work that well. Yeah, you've got some scenes where the action sequences are okay, and some of the stunts are very good. Even some of the cheesy moments in the film, like the scene, you see the scene in the trailer where Eastwood's standing on top of Raul Julia, and he's giving the kill line before he kills him off, because that's what happens in the next scene. Something like that is funny for a cheesy, over the top movie of its kind. But when you have these other elements in here that just make it completely, it's a mess of a movie. That's what I should be saying. It's a mess of a movie. It's a big disappointment considering the talent aboard here. It's just not a good movie, man. It's just not a good movie. And I believe this was the last film Eastwood did before he really came back in a big way with Unforgiven about 2 years later. I could be wrong on that, though, but I believe that this was the last film before Unforgiven came out, and we'll eventually get into that one in about a couple of years from now. But yeah, that's my thoughts on The Rookie. Just not a very good movie. Let's move on to a much better movie, and that is Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands.
Is he here? Hold me.
I can't.
Eddie, is there anything you can't do? You take my very breath away. I swear, look at this.
Goodbye. I love you.
So yeah, Edward Scissorhands would eventually be the first of many, many, many collaborations with Johnny Depp. And among other things, it was also Vincent Price's last film role before he died. It was also the fourth film that Burton and Danny Elfman worked on together. And this is coming off of Tim Burton's success with Batman and Beetlejuice. So but there was a lot of high expectations for this, and the movie really outlasted a lot of expectations that people had with this movie, because you see it in the trailers. It's visually gorgeous. This is one of the most visually impressive movies I've seen in a long time, and it's definitely right up Tim Burton's alley. This is what you'd expect from a guy like him. And great cast overall. You not only have Johnny Depp, who's very good in this, you have Winona Ryder, you have Diane Wiest, Anthony Michael Hall, and Kathy Baker, Alan Arkin, and the previously mentioned Vincent Price. But of course, but I like the chemistry between Winona Ryder and Johnny Depp. They work very well together. Their scenes flow together very well. They have these great moments where the music just plays together so well. And it's just, like I said, it's just a gorgeous movie to look at. It's a weirdly gorgeous movie that no matter what way you watch it, if you watch it on videotape, if you watch it on the internet, if you watch it on Blu-ray, DVD, 4K, whatever, it just looks incredible. It still holds up to this very day. The production value on this still holds up almost over 30 years later. And it's just a great movie, man. Like, Johnny Depp really gives one of his greatest performances with this movie, and it just showed how great of an actor he can really be, and he would eventually show in the years to come after this. And honestly, I really don't have anything more to say about this movie. It's a masterpiece of a movie. It's a fantastic film. Edward Scissorhands. If you haven't seen it already, you gotta go out and see it, man. So, yeah, that's Edward Scissorhands. So, let's move on to the last movie, and that is Stephen Frears' The Grifters.
Irresistible urge to be the guy who's wise. There's nothing to whipping a fool.
The least we ever took was $40,000, and the most was $185,000 from one sucker.
To take another pro who knows you and has his eye on you, that's a score.
You're not skimming a thing, Millie?
Oh, well, you know, clip the buck here and the buck there. Not enough to notice.
That's right. Take a little, leave a little.
Person who don't look out for himself's too dumb to look out for anybody else.
You're on the grift. Same as me.
I'm strictly short, Con. I can walk away from it any time I want.
Get off the grift, girl.
Call me half second, lose May now to get...
You haven't got the stomach for it.
Call me half second, lose May now to get drawn back over.
So they want you to mind your own goddamn business.
You don't know what I'd do to live.
Yeah, for some reason I couldn't find a legitimate trailer from 1990, because that's what I usually like to use. I don't usually like to use reissue trailers when I show the clips from the movies, and I wanted to show the trailer for The Grifters, but I couldn't find one. So I think the one I picked up was a fan-made one, but you get kind of the basic idea of what the movie is from it, and it looked the closest to a trailer that you'd probably see in the 90s, at least to me. But either way you look at it, The Grifters is another fantastic movie. much more underrated than I think a lot of people would give it credit for. Like, it did very well critically back in 1990. It was a minor box office success. It was even up for a couple of Oscar nominations. But you don't really hear a lot of people talk about this movie all that much. And it is a very good, well-made movie. John Cusack is really good here. Angelica Houston puts up an Oscar-caliber performance in this. Annette Bening is very good here. And it's just a great film noir movie. It's a great neo-noir thriller. Very well written by Donald E. Westlake. Stephen Frears does a great job directing it. You got the music of Elmer Bernstein in this. It's it's a wonderfully made movie. It's a movie, like I said, I don't think a lot of people really know about, but you really should. The Grifters is definitely a movie that should be seen. I highly recommend checking it out. The Grifters.
Look who's back.
What's up, my man?
Look who's expecting.
All right, lay one on me.
That's your baby sister Julie in there. She's kicking.
Oh, wait a minute, let me get this straight. My little sister is in my juice cup?
TriStar Pictures presents
Mikey, this is your sister, Julie. Hi, Julie. Welcome to the outside. I'm going to be in charge of your life for the next 2 or 3 years. Smacking you around, getting you in shape. Anything you need, don't be afraid to ask.
Who is this slime ball?
Look Who's Talking 2. Starring John Travolta.
Where's your nose?
Just don't pressure me.
Oh, man, is this kid dumb?
Kirstie Alley.
Yeah, whatever.
And the voices of Bruce Willis,
I got the time if you got the diapers.
Roseanne Barr,
What are you looking at?
and Damon Wayans.
Talk about attitude. Come on, let's take it to the zoo and leave it there. Good idea.
Of course, he would have a friend.
The trick is to take control of the situation. All right, look, let me show you something. Now, these are all toys, right?
Uh-huh.
Some of them are mine, some of them are yours.
Yeah.
The way you tell the difference is I have all the great toys. Look, here's a toy you can play with, a Nerf ball.
I don't
Here's another one.
Join Mikey and Julie
No, you shove over.
as they discover the secrets of romance.
That's Sheila, man. We play doctor together. You play doctor with her? Gotta make another house call.
Battle the forces of evil.
These are just my toys. That I don't remember having batteries, but... Oh, my God. Monsters!
Save their parents' marriage.
He's a slob. He's belligerent. He has the earning capacity of an illiterate immigrant.
Hey, everybody take a toy and just calm down.
And learn
That hat's never gonna fit me.
how to hold their own.
Ooh, I had to pinch that one back. Might make it. Oh, wait, just get these other pants down. Oh. Wait a minute, I'm not done.
Look Who's Talking 2.
Now we got us a party.
And again, right away, you can kind of see some of the problems with Look Who's Talking To. It's pretty much a typical comedy sequel. It's definitely lesser than the previous movie. I will say, though, there are some things in this movie that actually were kind of interesting. Like, I'll give you this much. There's a couple of sequences in here that are like, they're kind of like nightmare sequences, dream sequences, but I will admit, when I watched this again recently, they still kind of freaked me out. Like, they did a pretty good job of saying, we're not going to show any mercy. We're going to show you what these kids really see everything as in their nightmares. And, you know, the teddy bear and then the toilet coming to life. Like, I got to admit, that really freaked me out when I watched this again. I'll give it that. But, I mean, for the most part, yeah, there's a lot of problems with this movie. I think the biggest problem, like I said, is sequelitis. It's them pretty much rehashing the same premise as the first movie. The characters have really regressed in this movie compared to where they were in the last movie. Like, it feels like Kirstie Alley and John Travolta really have not learned anything, and they're just the difference is that they're married and now they have 2 kids, and now they have to work on their relationship again. And it's just like, we saw this already in the first movie, except this time, yeah, they're married now, but you couldn't at least think of something better than that. I mean, and the voice work is okay. I mean, Bruce Willis, Roseanne Barr, Damon Wayans, and there's also a couple of other ones in here, new voices that they add in here. They're not bad, but in this movie in particular, you really start to notice the mouths moving now on their own, and there was a lot of that in the first movie whatsoever. Like, you didn't see them, the mouths weren't moving like someone was sticking peanut butter in these kids' mouth, because that's what it looks like in this trailer. Like, if you see Bruce Willis moving his lips around, I don't know if they were trying to get the kids to speak like what Bruce Willis is saying, but I don't know. It's a weird thing to do for this. It's just like, it doesn't look right whatsoever, at least to me, at least. But interesting fun fact I found out, if you watch the original teaser trailer for this, Damon Wayans' character, who becomes the best friend of Bruce Willis's character, was actually supposed to be played by Richard Pryor, and like in the early teaser trailers for this, it even has Eddie voiced by Richard Pryor in there, and I guess they took a line from one of his movies or something, or he didn't record anything, and they just took it from another movie. But yeah, they do have the little clip player. I don't have the trailer here, but if you go online and look for the first teaser trailer for Look Who's Talking 2, it's definitely on there. But yeah, for the most part, Look Who's Talking 2 is pretty much a letdown, especially compared to the first movie. It definitely suffers from sequelitis. There are a couple things that make it kind of stand out, but it's not something I'd want to watch over and over again. It's definitely a very underwhelming movie, but I give it credit for the stuff that it did right, so at least there's that. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, the other comedy that came out this weekend. Cher, Bob Hoskins, Winona Ryder, and a young Christina Ricci in Mermaids.
Who's the worst mother in the world? Oh, now don't tell me. Let me guess. Who could it be? Could it be me?
Charlotte's mother is many things.
Charlotte, we're Jewish.
Normal isn't one of them.
Okay, how do I look?
Like a woman about to go forth in sin.
Oh, good. Exactly the look I was hoping for.
That's how Rachel liked it.
1, 2, 3,
And that's why Charlotte didn't.
Sometimes I feel like you're the child and I'm the grown-up.
What is this?
Cheese ball pick-me-ups, and for dessert, marshmallow kebabs. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
I'm trying not to drive too fast.
Well, after my mom, nothing seems fast.
They have almost nothing in common.
Or don't do anything I would. Are you coming home with me? Another night.
But there's one thing they do share. Men.
You kissed him? How could you do that?
Well, if I were you, Charlotte, I'd go easy. I know that you're planning a celibate life, but with half my chromosomes, I think that might be tough.
Has your mother ever talked to you about sex?
Oh, yeah.
I can get pregnant if I hang my clothes next to a man's suit.
We talk about everything. She's a wonderful mother.
Why did you think you were pregnant? You're still a virgin.
Trust me, I know about these things.
She's doing this because she has a problem. And she's probably too frightened to talk to you.
Why would she be frightened?
Like mother, like daughter.
Maybe your life works for you, but it doesn't work for me. And I want to stay.
And do what?
Finish high school.
Great start. What's your major, town tramp?
No, Mom, the town already has one.
Cher.
I don't always know what I'm doing. It's not like you and your sister came with a book of instructions.
Bob Hoskins.
You're a hell of a woman, Rachel.
I know.
Winona Ryder.
Mary O'Brien, she dances around naked, screaming about her boyfriend's quivering loins.
Shut up, Charlotte. Shut up.
Mermaids.
Directed by Richard Benjamin, this was actually supposed to be the English film debut for director Lasse Hallström, but he would actually make his directorial debut with Once Around, which comes out a month after this, which we'll definitely get into that one, but for the most part, the movie is pretty good. Like, it works. This is one of those movies where you kind of feel like from the trailer they're trying to rip off Beaches. I mean, Beaches and Mermaids, pretty much kind of the same title, or something like Terms of Endearment, but it doesn't do that. It actually does something very good on its own. Like, the performances really do stand out here. Cher's really good here, as is Bob Hoskins and Winona Ryder. Like I said, you have a young Christina Ricci just before she did The Addams Family, which comes out the year after this. And overall, it is a pretty good movie. It's a movie that, it's not one that I'd watch on repeat over and over, but it is a fun movie. It's a well-made film. The performances really do work here. It's kind of generic, but it also does stuff that makes it stand out on its own. The soundtrack overall is pretty good. Some great music here by Jack Nitzsche, but also this movie actually had a new rendition of It's in Its Kiss, which is actually really good from Cher. If you haven't heard that one, definitely check that one out. But yeah, for the most part, this is a really good movie. I really had a lot of fun with it. And, you know, Christina Ricci, I talked about her. This is kind of a breakout role. This was another winner for Winona Ryder, too. In 1990, think about what she was doing. She did this, Edward Scissorhands, and Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael. And, I mean, this is really, like, stepping up in her career, because she really would have progression over the next couple of years in this decade. And she really becomes one of the great young actresses of the time, so... And this movie was another great example of that. So, yeah, that's my quick thoughts on Mermaids. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Sidney Pollack's follow-up to his Oscar winner Out of Africa, Robert Redford and Lena Olin in Havana.
It was a place where everything was legal.
I met this woman.
And anything could happen.
Take the advice of an old man. You stick with her.
And for one moment, it was the most exciting place on earth. Havana. Robert Redford, Lena Olin. From director Sidney Pollack. Havana, rated R. Starts December 12th in select areas, December 14th everywhere.
Yeah, the movie didn't really work out as well as I think they wanted it to. It felt like Sidney Pollack was trying to make another Out of Africa, while also trying to make the next great epic romance like Gone with the Wind, or something that Universal would do like a couple years later with Far and Away. But you really can't have that magic to it, because as big as the production value for this can look, you still need a good story. You still need some good characters, and there's really none of that here. This is a mess of a movie all around. For Robert Redford doesn't usually pick bad movies like this a lot, but it's not a good movie. Like, a lot of great actors in here: Lena Olin, Alan Arkin, Raul Julia, who was uncredited because the film's producers wouldn't give him the above the title credit with Redford and Olin. I mean, and that's another black eye for Julia in December, because he also had The Rookie the week before, and that didn't end up doing well. And yeah, it's just not a good movie. It's a boring movie. It's a great-looking film, but there's really nothing to it story-wise or character-wise. You can't relate to any of these characters. You can't get invested in their stories. You can't get really into it, because everything that's going on has just been there, done that, and there's nothing new or exciting that's really making it stand out on its own. And like I said, it only made $9 million off of a $40 million budget. That's a huge failure for a movie with this much money to it. And is there anything really good about this? I mean, you got a good score by Dave Grusin, and Dave Grusin is probably one of the most underrated composers of the 80s. I mean, this is the guy that did the Saint Elsewhere theme, which is one of the great underrated theme songs of all time. So, I mean, but yeah, the score from him is really good. That's really the only thing I can really say about this movie that's positive, but everything else about it is just bad. It's just not a very good movie whatsoever. So, with that said, let's go to the other director who had a follow-up to his Oscar-winning film, Bernardo Bertolucci. After The Last Emperor, he gives us The Sheltering Sky.
The Sheltering Sky, Bertolucci's most hypnotic movie. Stunning, says the New York Times. Deborah Winger, John Malkovich, The Sheltering Sky. Toronto exclusive engagement.
Sorry, I couldn't really find a whole lot there in terms of clip-wise, but I'll give this movie credit. It's at least a little bit better than Havana is, but after Bernardo Bertolucci made The Last Emperor, which I just watched again recently, and I think that's a fantastic movie that not a lot of people really talk about. It's honestly one of the best Oscar-winning Best Picture movies of that decade, honestly. If you really look back on it, the visuals in that movie still hold up to this very day, and a lot of the same people who made that movie are still involved with this project here. You got a great cast, including Deborah Winger, John Malkovich, Campbell Scott, and just a lot of good, interesting ideas here. Just not really a good story to really tell all about it. I think the performances and the visuals really do keep it afloat. Unlike Havana, where pretty much everything was a waste, there's actually some effort here, but it just doesn't have that lasting power that something like The Last Emperor does, or some of the other great movies that Bernardo Bertolucci's been involved with. So, I guess to this movie's credit, it's not as bad as Havana is, which really, it says a lot, but in terms of it being a good follow-up to The Last Emperor, it really isn't it. It's just a movie that's kind of like, it's not a bad movie, but it's not a good movie either. It's definitely in the middle. It's a movie that has so much more promise to it than it actually shows on the screen. So that's my thoughts on The Sheltering Sky.
Terry Dean is a thief who's temporarily down and out. When a sudden collision causes a major concussion.
You wanted the truth, I'm giving it to you. I'm an angel,
that leads to a hasty conclusion.
I'm an angel.
Darn angel. They're the ones that come back to Earth to do good deeds and stuff. I'm bulletproof, but I can't fly yet.
If you'd given me the wings,
Made the job a lot easier.
I saw him reading the Bible earlier.
An axe murderer can read.
Were your folks very religious, Terry?
Only time I went to church as a kid was to knock off the poor box.
You have family living in LA, Mr. Dean?
No, I killed them with an axe. Social workers, right?
Yeah. And what's it to you? Popeye?
Very important when you throw the left hook. You keep that elbow up high. Because if you miss with a glove, you can still take them out with the elbow. Now, I never, ever want to see any of you guys doing any of this dirty stuff. I don't wear funny robes or carry signs. I'm not a religious nut. I just help people, like you do.
Do as I say, no one gets hurt. I'll have 200 turner on a roll to go.
Paper or plastic?
The Bonzo Burger Man cruised the downtown area last night, distributing samples of his products to the homeless. He's medium build and looks like this.
Paul Hogan is almost an angel.
Aerobics. They're like Jay Fonda.
The guy from Down Under is now working for the man upstairs. I guess you've been asked this question a million times, but is Elvis with you? Almost an angel.
Yeah, this was definitely one of those things where Crocodile Dundee was a once-in-a-generational thing. It was a big hit back in '86. The sequel was a success as well. But unfortunately, Paul Hogan never really had that big success like Crocodile Dundee. He never was able to capitalize on that, which is a shame because he's not a bad actor. He can actually be a very funny comedic actor, and I could definitely see where they were going with this movie, but overall, I think they really missed the mark here because I think they made this character that Hogan plays a little too much like Crocodile Dundee, and he's supposed to be this bad guy, but he never really shows it in this movie. Like he robs banks and he says that he kills people, but we never really get to see it in this movie, and I think because it plays it a little bit too safe for its own good, and I think that's really one of the reasons why it doesn't really work that well. And I don't know, like, you ever heard the saying, never work with your spouse? And I don't know if working with his wife, Linda Kozlowski, again, really worked out this time around. It worked in the first two movies, but not really here. The first two Crocodile Dundee movies, I should say, but yeah, unfortunately this movie didn't really work out all that well. It was a huge failure financially and critically. Paul Hogan would keep trying to make some successes over the 90s, but he would never really have that big success after Crocodile Dundee after this, which again is a shame because I think he could have been a really good comedic actor that would have been able to make more hit movies if he picked the right scripts or something or what. But I just didn't see it in this movie, unfortunately. It has a good idea to it, but just a wrong execution, honestly. So that's my thoughts on Almost an Angel, a movie that really missed the point altogether, I think, really, in the end. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Mel Gibson and Franco Zeffirelli's Hamlet.
From Franco Zeffirelli, the acclaimed director of Romeo and Juliet, Mel Gibson, Glenn Close, Alan Bates, Paul Scofield, Ian Holm, Helena Bonham Carter in Hamlet, the story of a king's death, a ghost's revelation,
My uncle.
a brother's ambition, a queen's passion.
Have you forgotten me?
No, by the rule, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and would it were not so, you are my mother.
A father's suspicion, a daughter's honor.
What should such fellows as I do, crawling between earth and heaven, believe? None of us.
A son's revenge.
How could I drink hot blood?
Now, a man must choose whether to forgive or to avenge, to love, to hate, to live, to die, to be or not to be. Hamlet, the extraordinary telling of a classic tale.
Surprisingly, one of 3 different Hamlet movies we would get over the next 10 years, because you had this movie, then you had the Kenneth Branagh version, which obviously is a lot better movie, I would say, but we'll get to that one in a little bit, and we'll delve even more into it when we get to 96, and then we had the 2001, which was a modern-day version with Ethan Hawke in it, I believe. But, you could see that this is one of those movies where I think the style looked a lot better over the actual substance. Like, the literal definition of style over substance is definitely in this movie. The visual look of the movie is very impressive. The actors clearly are trying. They have a really good cast involved in this. As I mentioned, Gibson, Glenn Close, Paul Scofield, Ian Holm, Helena Bonham Carter, Pete Postlethwaite's in this, Alan Bates, and I don't know. I mean, it follows the plot of the original play almost to a T. They do omit some lines of dialogue and some minor characters just so they could fit the runtime. I think that was maybe the biggest problem with it, because they didn't do like a big, huge, epic scale movie like what Kenneth Branagh would do. Because Kenneth Branagh, I think, like I said, did this a lot better. Even with this huge cast that he has involved in that movie, he managed to make it work because he didn't care about making a marketable movie, a safe and marketable film, like I think this movie does. He wasn't afraid to make a long movie, and that's a long movie. I think it's over 300 minutes long, but I could be exaggerating on that, but it was a long movie. It was at least 3 hours, but like I said, it worked a lot better there than it does in this movie, which this movie, it's not bad, it's just, it could have been a whole lot better. I think this movie was one of those attempts where Mel Gibson was trying to win an Oscar, and he would have a couple of these before he had the success with Braveheart in the middle of the decade. But yeah, this Hamlet is okay. It's not a great movie overall. It's definitely one I probably wouldn't watch over and over again, which is a shame because you could definitely see the production value on the screen. And when Franco Zeffirelli makes a movie based off of Shakespeare's work, it worked well with Romeo and Juliet, so you think it would be able to work the same way here, but not quite. So, Hamlet, okay, but I probably will never watch it again. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is, it is what I think it is. So, we have Sean Connery and Michelle Pfeiffer in The Russia House.
Payloads, aim points, rate of burn.
It's everything we ever wanted to know about the Russians. Sounds like the pot of gold.
God. Addressed to boozy Barley Blair. Barley Blair took a chance because he had nothing left to lose.
I'm offering you a fresh start.
It's voice activated, sir.
You're a fool to use me. I let people down.
Katya Orlova took a chance because she had everything to gain.
If you love peace, take this to England to Mr. Scott Blair.
It is better that you smile.
How did you recognize me, Mr. Barley?
Well, Nikki said you were Russia's answer to the Venus de Milo.
Together, they took the most dangerous chance of all.
It's me.
Do I disturb you?
Deeply.
They fell in love.
Barley's made contact.
Are you a spy?
Answer.
We are going with your man.
What is the matter? Are you afraid?
If it's not safe for me, then it's not safe for you.
Why is he driving?
Get rid of him, Clive.
I am motivated by my love for Katya Orlova.
No.
What are you doing?
Shh, don't. What did he say?
He was telling me we are dead.
I love you. I won't let you down.
John le Carré's The Russia House.
You know, honestly, this movie doesn't really get talked about all that much. And honestly, it's a shame because it's actually a pretty damn good movie. One of the things that's notable about this movie is that it was only the second movie made in America to be filmed on location in the Soviet Union. And it would be the last one before the dissolution of the Soviet Union in '91, the year after this. But as far as the movie goes, it's actually a much better, smarter political thriller than I think a lot of people would have given it credit for. I can remember shows like, I can't remember if it was Saturday Night Live or Mad TV. They did like a parody of this. And it was basically a parody of this movie because I guess maybe they think that Sean Connery and Michelle Pfeiffer working together doesn't really work out well age-wise. I mean, I don't know. I've seen much different I've seen bigger age gaps compared to this that actually worked. That actually didn't work as well. But I don't know. Their chemistry here works pretty well, and you also got a great supporting cast here: Roy Scheider, James Fox, John Mahoney, Klaus Maria Brauner, Ken Russell, the director. And it's got a good script by Tom Stoppard. Fred Gillespie overall is a pretty good director, and I like that he's been able to do other movies outside of just one particular genre. This is the guy that also did comedies like Roxanne, IQ, Mr. Baseball, It Runs in the Family, and he could do movies like these as well, these dramatic movies, and it does work pretty well. It's a really good, underrated movie, I think. It's one that I think a lot of people definitely should check out if you want to see one of Sean Connery's more underrated performances, and, you know, Michelle Pfeiffer was just hitting bullseye after bullseye at this point, so yeah, this movie's actually pretty good. I highly recommend checking out The Russia House if you can. So, I say if you can, but you can find it somewhere, either on DVD, Blu-ray, video, or online. I'm sure you're able to find it. I'm sure you're able to find most of these movies here. So, that's The Russia House. Let me go to the next movie here. That's the thing I hate about doing this with the Wikipedia page, because I have to always go back to see what the next movie is on the list here, so... But anyway, let's get to that next movie, and that is another star-studded movie. Tom Hanks, Bruce Willis, and Melanie Griffith in The Bonfire of the Vanities, from director Brian De Palma.
Okay. Here we go. My name is Peter Fallow, the man of the moment, the toast of the town. But it wasn't always this way. Let me tell you how it all began. In the 80s, making money and living well was all that mattered. And no one did it better than Sherman McCoy. Now he was a master of the universe.
Calm?
Sorry.
Collated? Let's not lose our composure over a few $100 million.
No one could resist him. Not his mistress.
This could be the best sex I've had in a long time.
Not even his dog.
It's raining and he's not happy about it, Mr. McCoy.
Here am I, Bill.
I, on the other hand, was a reporter in need of a story.
This is Peter Fallow, the has-been.
Oh, Shantae.
In need of a spark. Which is exactly what I got.
It's a body.
It looks like...
It's an animal.
No, I think
Is it dead?
it's a tire.
It's a dead tire?
I turned that spark into a flame.
Hello, Peter. I think there's a hell of a story.
We're investigating an automobile accident.
Yeah, on television. Last night, my wife, we said, well, we have a... Good Lord, we have a Mercedes. And
Mr. McCoy, is there something you want to tell us?
And the flame spread. Did you say Henry Lamb was an honor student?
Good doesn't really apply to Group High. They're either cooperative or life-threatening.
Nothing is going to come of that little newspaper article.
I got him! Miss McCoy!
Absolutely.
I'm going to jail.
And suddenly, I was the guy who had everything. Hey, opportunity knocks. Someone's got to answer the door.
I want to see the truth come out and burn every one of them, and there's only one way to do that.
On the other side.
Lie.
Boy, talk about a movie that has one of those interesting production histories that are worthy of a documentary down the road. But, man, with a movie that has a cast this good, and, you know, we talk about Tom Hanks, Bruce Willis, and Melanie Griffith. You saw Morgan Freeman in the trailer. You also see people like Kim Cattrall, Saul Rubinek, George Clinton has a cameo here. Geraldo Rivera has a cameo here. Rita Wilson has a small role in this movie. Kurt Fuller is in this. A young Kirsten Dunst. F. Murray Abraham. And then you look at the production history that followed after this. De Palma actually wanted to do this with Jack Nicholson and John Cleese either playing Peter Fallow, but the studio forced him to cast Bruce Willis because he had just come off of Die Hard. And then when the project was first pitched, Mike Nichols was the original director, and he wanted Steve Martin for the role of Sherman McCoy. And they thought Martin was too old for the role. They then went to Tom Wolfe wanted Chevy Chase for McCoy, and then they went to Kevin Costner, Tom Cruise, Christopher Reeve. Walter Matthau was going to be the judge in this. He demanded a fee of $1 million, and they didn't even want that. So they got Alan Arkin to do it, and then Alan Arkin dropped out, and then they had to get Morgan Freeman to do it. And they also wanted Edward James Olmos. As I mentioned, F. Murray Abraham's in this, but he's not credited here. There was a contract dispute because he wanted billing above the title. And I mean, you kind of figure maybe he has a point because he did win an Oscar for Amadeus, and then they wanted Uma Thurman to play the Maria Ruskin, who Melanie Griffith plays in the movie, but Tom Hanks felt that she wasn't right for the role, so they went to Melanie Griffith. But they have all these controversies and behind-the-scenes problems here that really would have helped the documentary, but yeah, like the movie itself really is a mess. Like if you've ever read Tom Wolfe's Bonfire of the Vanities, this is nothing like that. It's kind of like they saw War of the Roses the year before. They saw how big of a success that was, and they said, we want to make a movie that's like this, and we want to get the biggest stars that we have out there. So grab Tom Hanks, grab Bruce Willis, grab Melanie Griffith, put them together in this. It's going to work out well. And sadly, it did not. It crashed and burned at the box office, was destroyed critically, and you can kind of see why. And I'm actually surprised that nobody has even tried to do this story again nowadays, which I think we are close to seeing that eventually happening because, as we know, everything can be made into a movie nowadays, so who knows? We might see that happen someday. But as far as this movie goes, this isn't a very good movie. This is not a really good adaptation of the book. This doesn't even feel like the book itself. It feels like their attempts to, like I said, try to create a dark black comedy in the same vein as War of the Roses, but it failed miserably. And yeah, and for Bruce Willis, it was one of the 2 consecutive bombs he would have in the next year or so, because he had another movie with Hudson Hawk coming that same time. So we'll get to that one when we get into 91. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is a much better movie than Bonfire of the Vanities, I would say. It's Kiki's Delivery Service.
Come along on a ride you'll never forget with an all-new feature-length movie adventure.
Go!
Coming to video for the very first time.
Hold on!
Kiki's Delivery Service. It's a journey of friendship and courage. With Kiki, a witch in training who's just getting the hang of flying.
Hold on there, son!
It's the story of Kiki's quest for independence and all her extraordinary adventures. Featuring Kirsten Dunst as Kiki and Matthew Lawrence as Tombo. Kiki's Delivery Service.
So as you can probably tell there, that's actually the trailer for the Disney dub of this version, which has Kirsten Dunst, Phil Hartman as the cat, Tress MacNeille, Janine Garofalo, Matthew Lawrence, Debbie Reynolds, Edie McClure, and actually Streamline Pictures, who also did the dub for Akira, which came out the year before. They did a version in 1990, but but no matter which version you've seen of Kiki's Delivery Service, the movie itself is overall pretty good. It's really what you'd expect from Hayao Miyazaki. This is definitely right up his alley. It's a fun story. It has some great characters all around, some really good animation all around, and it is just a fun adventure movie. I think a lot of people who like Miyazaki's work can definitely look at this and see this as one of his more enjoyable films. It's definitely not one of his best films overall, but it's still a ton of fun all around. And yeah, what more can I say? Kiki's Delivery Service, it's a wonderful, wonderful film. So let's go ahead and move on to the top grossing film of the week, and that was Arnold Schwarzenegger in Kindergarten Cop.
Now, more than ever, to be a teacher requires patience, kindness, and understanding. Fortunately, Astoria Elementary has just hired such an individual. Arnold Schwarzenegger is Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten is like the ocean. You don't want to turn your back on it.
Don't worry, everything is under control.
He's an undercover detective.
I assume you have some teaching experience.
They wouldn't have sent me otherwise.
Assigned to find a mother and son.
Did Danny ever say what Crisp's wife looked like?
Before a killer does.
First, I would like to just get to know you.
A male kindergarten teacher. That's unusual.
He's been trained to shoot.
What made you become a kindergarten teacher?
He's been trained to fight. But there are some things
You mean you eat other people's lunches? Stop it!
he's never been trained to handle.
They're walking all over me.
Listen, Kimball, you gotta handle this like any other police situation.
You're going to be my deputy trainees. You're not gonna have your mommy stand behind you anymore and wipe your little douches. You are mine now.
I'm not a policeman. I'm princess.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You hit the kid, I hit you.
Wow.
In an Ivan Reitman film.
Are you married, Mr. Kimball?
No, I'm not.
He's not married, Mom!
Welcome to Astoria, the single-parent capital of America.
You got a little mustache.
Must be from the milk.
Kindergarten Cop.
The ending of that trailer right there perfectly shows you why this movie works as well as it does. Arnold Schwarzenegger looked at this and said, you know what, I want to have some fun with this role. I'm going to do, even if I look silly, like in something like that. And it just works. It just works really well with the movie itself. And it's a perfect match. Like, Ivan Reitman really can make Arnold Schwarzenegger very funny, because he can give him the right material to work with for the most part. I mean, the next collaboration they did, Junior, was not as well received, and there's a number of reasons why that is. But yeah, Kindergarten Cop is pretty damn good. Like, it's a really, really great movie. I really love this movie. I used to watch it as a kid. I still love it even today. I still think it's very funny. It shows off a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger's comedic potential when he's given a good script to work with. Which is interesting, because when you look at the people that they wanted to go with, Bill Murray and Patrick Swayze were considered for the roles of Detective Kimball. They even wanted Danny DeVito, but they nixed that idea because of course, the actor's height. And, I mean, really, Arnold Schwarzenegger's the guy that could easily make this work. I mean, I don't think, like, I don't know, I don't think somebody like Sylvester Stallone or Dolph Lundgren or even Bruce Willis at the time could probably make this work, but you have a guy like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he looks at this, he knows what to do to get a good laugh. He's worked with Ivan Reitman before. The matching just works too well here, and the movie just ends up being a really fun and enjoyable adventure. It's a really fun comedic action adventure in a way. I say that as comedic action comedy is what I want to say, but you also have a really good cast involved here too. Penelope Ann Miller's in this, Pamela Reed, Linda Hunt, Carol Baker, Kathy Moriarty, Park Overall, Heidi Sweetberg, Angela Bassett's in this, a young Odette Yusman from Cloverfield's in this. Actually, Elijah Wood unsuccessfully auditioned for a role in this movie, even though he was in Back to the Future Part 2 for a little bit, and he also was in a couple of commercials back then. But, yeah, overall, the movie is very good. It's a great, fun movie. It's one of Ivan Reitman's best movies. I love it so much. I think a lot of people enjoy it too. It's silly, it's funny, it's just Kindergarten Cop. It's a great comedy all around. I love it. So let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, and that is Sissy Spacek and Whoopi Goldberg in The Long Walk Home.
She's the proper Southern housewife. She's the perfect family housekeeper.
Thank you, Odessa.
Two women who live by the conventions of their time. But something is about to happen that will change the lives of these two women forever.
That bus is as empty as my grave.
If you won't ride the bus, Mr. Thompson doesn't see why I should have to suffer.
I asked you to suffer, Miss Thompson.
I don't want no trouble.
Hit him! No! You tried to ride the bus, and that's why his face looks like that. What's wrong with you?
You give in. What do you think is going to happen to this city?
These are the people that you said couldn't count to 10. You're going to go to one of their meetings?
I'll make up my own mind now. Join any damn group I please.
Get away from my car.
No, you get away from your car.
I'm a little scared. What's scaring you, Miss Thompson? Who you are? Who Mr. Thompson wants you to be?
Here I am trying to hold my head up as a white man in this town, and you're caught in a nigger maid.
At a time in America when everyone did what was expected, two women had the courage to do what was right.
When it's all said and done,
People are going to look at you, Miss Thompson, and they're going to say that you were part of this.
Sissy Spacek, Whoopi Goldberg, The Long Walk Home.
Definitely another very underrated movie. You got a lot of good people in this movie. Sissy Spacek, Whoopi Goldberg, Dwight Schultz from the A-Team, Ving Rhames, Dylan Baker. You also have Jason Weaver from the Wonder Years, Dan Butler, who you will later see in Frasier, Shyler Fisk, who we'll later see in films such as Snow Day and Orange County, is what I meant to say. A really good cast all around here. And the movie itself overall is pretty well done. It works mostly because of the performances. The story in and of itself is just kind of, it's very generic. It's very formulaic, and they do kind of go with the white savior storyline, where you have the leading white person getting help from the black person in the movie. But I guess in this movie, it does work because these performances really do stand out. The actors are really trying their best here. It's nothing really new we haven't seen done before, and I mean, yeah, for the most part, it is what you think it is when you see a movie of this type. But like I said, the performances really do carry it over. There is an interesting story here to be told here, and its message is very good. It's a very good message they try to present in this movie. It doesn't feel forced. There's no moments where it feels a little too overdramatic or somebody's pulling for an Oscar nomination. But, yeah, it's an overall enjoyable movie. It's not one I'd watch over and over again, but it's a movie that overall I think is a lot better than most people would ever think it would be, mostly because of the performances. I think the performances in this really do stand out more than the actual story itself here. So if you want to see something like, if you want to see Whoopi Goldberg in one of her more underrated roles also with Sissy Spacek, I'd say definitely check out The Long Walk Home.
Yes, inside you that makes you so beautiful. And in your eyes is something so perfect no one can touch it. You're just giving me a little handful of that magic. And no one and no thing is ever going to take that away from us.
Already a better love story than anything that came out of Pearl Harbor, and we'll eventually get to that one when we get to 2001, but yeah, Pearl Harbor sucks. That movie is terrible, and this movie basically shows you how you can do a romantic drama set around the events of World War II and Pearl Harbor and do it the right way, because this is a really good movie. It's a movie that a lot of people don't really talk about all that much. It didn't do so well financially at the box office, it got decent reviews critically, but it didn't really make a huge impact around awards season. But it's a really good movie. It's a really good Dennis Quaid movie that it's one of his best underrated performances here. It has a great Japanese cast all around. You've got Sab Shimono, Tamlin Tomita. You've also got who else is in here? I'm trying to see who else is in here. Cole Meany's in this. You've seen him in a bunch of movies. Just a great cast all around, and it's a really good story. It's a really good story about this American who falls in love with a Japanese woman. They get married, and unfortunately, they try to have their life together while the events of World War II are happening, and just before the Japanese bomb Pearl Harbor, and of course, we get involved in the World War II. And it is an interesting story. It's a very good story. It's a very good character piece with these great characters that you really associate yourself with, you get emotionally connected to, and it never feels forced. It never feels like they're going too much for over dramatic needs. It doesn't feel like they're doing this to do an Oscar bait type of movie. It feels very real. It feels very simplistic, and it's a really good movie. It's one that, like I said, a lot of people don't really talk about all that much, and it is one of those movies where I feel like it doesn't get as much love as it should, because it is overall a pretty solid movie. I've seen worse Oscar bait movies that have done this story so badly, and even movies where, like I said, the aforementioned Pearl Harbor, which I'm sorry I keep bringing back Pearl Harbor, but that movie just rubs me the wrong way. Again, we'll get to that when we get to 2001, but for this movie, it's a really good movie. It's a much better movie than I think a lot of people give it credit for. If you haven't seen Come See the Paradise, definitely check it out. I'd say you definitely get a much better movie than what people would tell you, judging by what you hear from critics and from the people that have seen the movie and yeah, it deserves a lot more credit than I think it deserves. So that's my thoughts on Come See the Paradise. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Woody Allen's Alice. Elise.
A woman who's never done a dishonest thing in her life finds herself falling into a love affair with a musician.
It's a little vague, Alice. Who's the woman? Who's the man? Who's the poor husband? What makes it interesting? Is it lurid? Is it sexual? Perverse?
Are you wearing the underwear I bought you?
Where does it go?
What is this? Where am I going?
So yeah, that trailer was pretty interesting. You basically have the story of Alice Tate, a mother of two who's married for 16 years. She finds herself falling for this handsome sax player played by Joe Mantegna. Alice is played by Mia Farrow. She has a backache, so she goes to this doctor, an Oriental herbalist, who realizes that her problems are not related to her back, but in her mind and heart. And the herbs that Dr. Yang gives Alice these magical powers that takes her out of this well-established rut. And it's just like that premise alone just sounds so weird on so many levels that I don't know. I mean, it's a weird premise to say the least. And you know, Woody Allen has done weird movies like this. Like The Purple Rose of Cairo works because of how weird it is, and it works because it's a better written story. It has a lot more interesting film aspects they use, the way they shoot it, the way they have these actors working on that. Movies like that, I think, work very well. This movie, not so much. This is a movie that I think has a good idea to it, but overall, it doesn't really stick the landing. This is one of Woody Allen's movies where it's not quite as good as I think a lot of people wanted it to be. I've seen Woody Allen write better movies than this, and you know, when you have something like this, I mean, the best movie he's ever made was very much a movie that is based in fantasy, like Midnight in Paris. It's a story. You have this writer who suddenly becomes infatuated with the city of Paris because he meets all these historical novelists and authors and classical writing people of the time, and that movie just works so much better, and it's definitely my personal favorite Woody Allen movie. This one, not so much. I think it has an interesting idea, but it doesn't stick the landing, despite a pretty good cast involved here. You got Alec Baldwin, Blythe Danner, Judy Davis, Mia Farrow, William Hurt, Joe Mantegna, Bernadette Peters, Sybil Shepherd, and unfortunately, there's just nothing there that really sticks the landing, honestly. It's a movie that probably could have been better if there was a better script involved, but I don't know. For the most part, it was mostly a forgettable film. At least to me it was. So that's Alice. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Green Card with Gerard Depardieu and Andie MacDowell.
You snore. Your manners are atrocious.
You think that important? You're a snob.
You're a slob. You're overweight. You're disgusting.
You're together?
Sort of. Do you mind?
You're like an old married couple.
Are you married to him?
Not usually.
Whatever do you mean?
Oh, well, not normally.
You're getting divorced.
Yes, definitely.
From Peter Weir, the director of Dead Poets Society, comes the story of two total strangers who entered into a marriage of convenience.
I now pronounce you man and wife.
Bronte, is this true?
Yes, but it's not the way you think.
They thought they'd never have to see each other again until...
I'm with the investigation department of the INS.
The what?
The Immigration Service.
The government changed everything.
Let him move into my apartment. I can't believe you're saying that.
But if marrying a stranger doesn't shock you, then let him spend a couple of nights sleeping on the sofa. Well, that shouldn't shock you either.
You don't like me, do you?
We don't have to like each other. We just have to be married.
There's been a major clampdown on illegal aliens marrying for residency status.
Let me do the talking.
No, I'll do the talking. How did you two meet?
We sort of crashed into each other.
Get that story straight.
Mom, Dad.
What's going on?
This is George. The handyman.
You hereby swear that the evidence you're about to give is the truth? I'm a composer of the whole truth.
A refugee.
And nothing but the truth.
He's not a spy or something.
I'm the husband. Oh, you're together. Okay.
Touchstone Pictures presents France's most acclaimed actor, Gerard Depardieu, and America's newest film sensation, Andie MacDowell, in the story of two very different people sharing one very unusual relationship.
You just have to trust your instinct.
Green Card.
So you have this movie that's the follow-up for Peter Weir after what he did with Dead Poets Society the year before. And it's a decent movie. It's not an Oscar-caliber movie. I think that's what Disney wanted to do when they put this out in late December, thinking that maybe this was going to be another Oscar contender for Peter Weir and Disney, but I don't think it's anything like that at all. It is a fine movie. I think the premise is a little too predictable. It's a little too rom-com cliche-filled, but usually when you have a movie like this that mostly depends on those romantic comedy cliches, the two actors have to have really good chemistry in order for it to really stand out on its own. And I think both Gerard Depardieu and Andie MacDowell do have some good chemistry here. I think they do really have a good chemistry that you can really believe in. You could believe that this couple they married each other just so Depardieu could get a green card, but then when they have to come back together, is when the FBI gets involved, you can believe that they sort of fall back in love with each other, and then it's an interesting concept. It's a good movie overall. It doesn't really do anything new that we haven't seen done before in other romantic comedies, but it's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's one I probably wouldn't watch over and over again, but I don't know. I thought it was alright. I think it could have been a lot better. Yeah, absolutely, but for what we got, it was perfectly fine for what it is, and accepted for that. That's what I really think about it. So that's Green Card. Now let's go ahead and move on to the biggest new release of the weekend, and that was, of course, Francis Ford Coppola's return to the Godfather saga, The Godfather Part 3.
And now, Paramount Pictures presents the continuation of Francis Ford Coppola and Mario Puzo's legendary saga.
We've sold the casinos. All businesses having to do with gambling. We have no interest or investment in anything illegitimate.
Don Corleone. The Corleone family. Partners with the Pope. They may cry in blasphemy.
This is business.
I know you're into banks and Wall Street, but everyone knows you're the final word. You're like the Supreme Court. All I want to do is protect you from these guys, and your lawyers can't do that. I said we make them dead. You give me the order, I'll take care of it.
I command this family, right or wrong.
You know, Michael, now that you're so respectable, I think you're more dangerous than you ever were.
Our true enemy has not yet shown his face. If every drug pusher in this room would have dropped dead, I would be the only one alive.
Well, you tell from me, he can live or he can die, you understand?
Will you shut up? Will you shut up?
You're the only one left in this family with my father's strength.
I'm a Corleone.
You can save the Corleone family. I'll help you.
The ultimate story of family.
Come at me as you will.
And loyalty.
Give up my daughter.
Power. And violence.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
The Godfather, Part 3.
When they come, they'll come at what you love.
Yeah, sadly I can't show the full trailer, but you really need to go out and look at the full trailer for this, because it's probably one of my favorite trailers of all time, because it starts off with clips from both The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2. It talks about the history between both movies and just gets you psyched to see what the next chapter of the saga is going to be. And like I said, I couldn't put the whole trailer up there, but definitely go look for it online. You can definitely look for it there. So, The Godfather Part 3 has a notable history behind it. It's a movie that a lot of people say is the worst of the series, which really I can't really be wrong on that, because compared to the first two movies, it's definitely a lesser sequel. I don't think it's that bad, honestly. I don't hate this movie like everybody else does. Overall, I do really enjoy it. When you compare it to the other two movies, it's definitely a big letdown, but you also have to remember that this movie had a lot of problems behind the scenes. Largely, Paramount wanted to rush this out in theaters in time for a specific date, so they had Francis Ford Coppola move as fast as he can to make this movie, and unfortunately they didn't have enough time to put together the right pieces to it, which is why I think in other versions that come out after this, like the one I think he did a version a couple of years after this movie came out, and then more recently with The Godfather Coda, you get much better movies. But yeah, overall, I think Part 3 is a really good movie. Coppola and Mario Puzo's script does manage to try to keep what made the last two movies so special and memorable, and it does work with a couple of exceptions. For one thing, I think the final scenes are a little bit of a cop-out, especially the last scene, because at the same time, it makes sense that a man who's dealt with so much death in his life by violence, he dies naturally by a heart attack. But, I mean, by far the worst thing about Godfather 3 really is, I mean, Sofia Coppola, which, yeah, she's a great director, but she really can't act to save her life. I mean, it's the one thing that really bothered me about this movie, because you think with a director like Francis Ford Coppola, you would teach your daughter how to act and not just, or to just recast the role. I think at one point they wanted Winona Ryder for this role, which, talk about a banner year for her if she would have gotten this, but nope, unfortunately we got this. But yeah, Godfather 3 really still has those great moments, like the scene where the meeting is interrupted by gunfire, although it does have some of the funniest one of the funniest out of nowhere moments where the guy is wants his coat so badly that he'd rather die than leave his coat behind. It's a ridiculous scene, but I can't help it. I laugh every time I see it. But you know, it is still one of the most well put together scenes in the film. It also has some of the best lines in the series. You know, where Al Pacino goes, "Just when I thought it was out, they pulled me back in." It's definitely the lesser of the series, no question about it. But so was Return of the Jedi for the original Star Wars trilogy. So was The Dark Knight Rises for the Batman movies. But they're still really good, solid movies. And yeah, I think with the other versions that came out after this, it definitely shows that Coppola, if he had more time to work on it at first, you probably would have had something on par with the original films. I mean, the movie did get several nominations at the Oscars the year after this, but didn't win anything. I think they just really put it in there because it's The Godfather. It's got to be in there. If it's not, then something must really be wrong with it. But it didn't do bad critically either, or financially. It did pretty well, but it just doesn't have that longevity it didn't have that same legacy that the other two movies had behind them, and that was a tall task to begin with. And just for the fact that this came out the same year as The Two Jakes, which was another sequel that they were really pushing to do very well, and that ended up failing so badly. This movie won on so many levels compared to what The Two Jakes ended up being. But yeah, like I said, it would have helped better if Godfather 3 didn't feel rushed and Coppola had more time to work on it. But I think it is still a very good movie. It doesn't live up to the same caliber as the first two movies, but you know, Francis Ford Coppola has had a lot of good movies that people have not really talked about all that much. Even before this, he had some great stuff like One from the Heart, which was one of the movies that killed New Hollywood, but it was actually a really good movie. I just saw it recently. It's a wonderfully made movie. The visual look of that film is amazing, but you also have The Outsiders, you have The Cotton Club, Tucker, the Man in His Dream. Just these great movies that not a lot of people really gave a lot of respect to back then, but years later, they finally are getting their proper respects and becoming like having these cult followings. And Godfather 3 definitely has had that, especially with the Godfather Coda receiving a much better reception than the original version did. And yeah, like I said, nowhere near as good as the first two movies, but I still really enjoy it a lot. This series is still one of my second favorite movie of all time. I consider all three of these films together just one movie to put in my top movies list. It's my second favorite movie, only behind Bambi. And if Godfather Part 3 had been a little bit better the first time around, maybe this would have been my favorite movie of all time. But yeah, overall, I like Godfather Part 3. I do really enjoy this movie a lot. So that's my thoughts on The Godfather Part 3.